Hello, everyone. Thought I would just do a quick little recap of the tabs that I have opened today. Basically, I went through it looking at some different stuff today. No, I started looking at housing prices and then I started looking at oil futures. Then I got on Instagram and I was reading through comments on some bullshit videos some realtor posted about foreclosures, and I responded to someone that said like realty in their name, and I said, how do you feel, about all these foreclosures that could possibly happen? It doesn't look like it's going to be 2008 financial crisis level, with a housing market collapse, but it does look like there's going to be a lot of foreclosures. And they said, we talked about that at the National Association of Realtors, and it just means we'll get to sell more houses. And that kind of threw me for a loop because I was thinking, don't you feel bad? Like, people that you could have just sold a house to in the past couple of years could lose their home because of the poor economy. And all you can think about is selling that house again and making money off of it again. I don't know. So that kind of took me down, redirected my original path, away from the war in Iran to the housing market. But
hi, and thank you for joining us. President Trump met with his top advisors in the Situation Room today to discuss a path forward on Iran. U.S. and Iranian negotiators have been working on a potential agreement to extend the current ceasefire and give themselves some time to work out some of the more complicated issues, namely the Strait of Hormuz and Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium. Throughout these negotiations, President Trump has said his main focus is to deny Iran access to a nuclear weapon, even if it means gas prices will rise or Republicans will have a tougher time in November's midterms.
Having a conflict just in front of the midterm elections at a time like this isn't ideal.
So if you wanted to play that game, then you would wait till the midterms are over, and then the following hour, you'll attack Iran because they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Most people agree with me on that. But then it gets maybe carried into, the next election, whether it's a midterm or not. So you have a very short window.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand joins us now.
why can't they have a nuclear weapon? Lots of people that we shouldn't trust with nukes have them. I mean, we have them. We're arguably the worst fucking people to have them. I mean, isn't that on the
Doing very
back
well.
of him talking about
Number of
not
jobs.
caring?
We have more people working today than we've ever had before in the history of our country.
Oh, more jobs
And,
and
many
ever.
other things. And I have a few words to say to you that
No one can
I think will
afford
be helpful.
anything.
Last
We got
night
more
was incredible.
jobs than
Not
ever.
only Texas, but so many other places. And the numbers were fantastic. And they've really been that way for a year. If you look, it's hundreds of people won, and almost nobody didn't win. So, but last night was very, very powerful. So I'm thrilled to welcome everyone to the 12th cabinet meeting of our administration, and we're doing something that no administration's ever done. We're always letting the press join us because we're very open and transparent. We like the word transparent, but we're more transparent than any administration in history. No, to the best of my knowledge, press has never been invited ever to a cabinet meeting for any reason at all. And it's an honor to have you. This team has achieved more than most other administrations achieve in 8 years. We took the
Does he
most
look kinda
dangerous,
rough?
unsafe, violent, and open border in
Is that just me? He looks. I mean, every president ages in the office pretty badly.
the
but
world. Anywhere in the world, there's no border like the border we had. And created the most secure border in the history of our country. We had no people, 12 months now, no people reported in the last 12 months came in illegally. Zero
The
illegal
fuck
aliens
is he
admitted to the
talking
United
about?
States in the last 12 months. And those charts are made by, you would say, politically unfriendly people. And the reason they don't come in is because nobody comes up, because they know that
Because it
they're
sucks
going to be
here.
turned away, and if they get in, they're going to be moved out right away. So it's been zero. You're the one that do.
If he's gotten people to stop coming, it's not because he secured the border. It's because he made it fucking horrible here. Probably worse here than where they're coming from now. But stock market's up. Stock market's way up. And that begs the question, why does it feel more and more like the average person is getting fucking pinched? Well, let's look at the Fed. Purchasing power. It's way down. I mean, it's kind of shocking to look at it, honestly. And when you think about it, I mean, it's kind of hard to compare what we have now to the 30s, especially considering they're going through their own economic downturn through that period. So seeing such a high number back then. But I mean, the 70s wasn't that long ago. I mean, 256 to 30. Well, I hit that button twice. Probably doing this backwards. 85. $85. That doesn't. I'm doing something wrong here. $8.5. There we go. I added a 0. 8.5 times less from the 70s. Let's look at that another way. I wonder if I can find. See what we can find here real quick. How far back does this go? 96? That's not far enough. There we go. Historical chart. $35? 4,670. That's 133 times. I mean, that's an astronomical difference. So if you wanted to go out and buy a long-term investment in gold, you're gonna pay 100 times more than what someone did in the 70s. And I mean, that just speaks to the value of our dollar having drastically gone down. It's just lost its value. And I mean, there's a lot of economic policies that are going to affect that, but I think primarily you're looking at the Fed trying to balance systems that are unbalanced just by printing money. Consumer price index for all urban consumers, all items less food and energy. Yeah, that makes sense right there. That's looking 40, 330. $8.25. I mean, we're right on the money right there. Seeing across the whole of the United States with the price of things minus food and energy. So we're not counting that in this chart. Oh, I already had a chart up for gold. That's gold ore, so that doesn't go back to the 70s, it doesn't look like. Gold ore, though. Let's do 88 when it peaked in the before the 90s. 140, 314. 2.2 times. So just the ore itself unrefined from the peak of the 80s to right now, 2.2 times. I mean, if we go back a little bit, well, this is COVID inflation right there. Unemployment. I mean, it looks like things go in a pretty steady cycle for employment and unemployment. We could get into the cycles of the economy a little more in depth another time, because there's plenty of conspiracy theories about why you're gonna see such steady growth and recessions. But you'll notice every time there seems to be a recession, and the people at the top somehow still make more and more money. They accumulate the wealth. It's almost like they tank it on purpose to make it easier to accumulate assets, to pull them into their portfolio. You're gonna see COVID, you know. People were not working. It got bad for a little bit there. That was another time the government printed money, gave it away, said this should fix everything. And it put money in people's pockets, but it really just made it harder for people to actually accumulate real wealth. Like I said, my little dive earlier kind of led me a few different places, looking at different things. So I started looking at the Federal Election Commission, the FEC.gov. You can go on there, look at financial contributions to elections. The contributions don't stop after someone gets elected. They typically continue to receive donations all throughout their tenure as your representative, from people that want to push them certain directions. DNC figures in millions. 124.3 cash on hand. Receipts 407. January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. That's a lot of money put into campaigns. RNC 440. I mean, it's similar figures, really. Individuals for whom contributions to national parties were limited to $44,300 per year during the election cycle were the largest source of federal funds for party committees' traditional accounts. Reported receiving $258.8 million and $220.3 million from individuals, respectively. PACs and other political committees contributed $35.1 million to Democratic Party committees and $27.5 million to Republican Party committees. This feels misleading because, I mean, we just had that election with Thomas Massie, and I mean, AIPAC spent at least $9 million to defeat incumbent Republican Representative Thomas Massie in Kentucky's 4th Congressional District primary, fueling a record-breaking $32 million total outside spending war. Massie drew the ire of pro-Israel groups due to his consistent voting record against foreign aid packages. I mean, that's... I mean, it's kind of wild for them to say that there was only 30 million from PACs, and I mean, you're looking at one race that had $30 million of outside money spent on it. I mean, how are they hiding this money coming in? So the unemployment rate's not devastating yet, but it's not looking good. And I mean, you have people talking about AI taking over people's jobs, acting like that is an absolutely inevitable thing that will just completely destroy people's livelihood soon. I mean, I can't even do a Google search without having the AI thing pop up. Like, I don't need AI to do Google search. I'm just looking for, you know, the most relevant website. Well, back to the housing thing. And this is kind of, you know, like I said, that's what led me down the whole rabbit hole and going different directions was one of these realtors saying, well, I get to sell that house again, I could make more money on it. And it seemed like they didn't really care if there was going to be, you know, people losing their homes because of, you know, them losing jobs, wealth shifting hands, you know, from individual to private equity, for various reasons. They just saw it as another opportunity to make money on it. And that's when I went to Open Secrets. And so, 118th Congress, 2024 cycle. Now, I was just looking through at, what groups, what industries are spending a lot of money. Finance, insurance, real estate. That's one of the biggest ones here, other than other, which probably encompasses a bunch of smaller items bundled up into one. And that's a lot of money they've spent to be heard by these representatives. So let's look at what the National Association of Realtors wants. They want to build housing supply and opportunity for all. I kind of question what that opportunity for all really means. Estimated 4.7 million units shortage. America's facing a housing inventory crisis. We must unlock supply, ease market constraints, make it easier for Americans to find homes they can afford, support housing for the 21st century. Streamline housing production affordability by modernizing outdated housing programs, reducing regulatory barriers, and increasing flexibility for local communities. I would have to look that up to see what that actually does. Support Road to Housing Act, streamline permitting, expand infrastructure investment, unlock new development that increases housing supply. I will say this, there's definitely too much red tape in getting houses built. As far as zoning laws and permits, I don't necessarily think they should make it where houses can be, shittier to get them on the market, but local government should definitely fucking approve zoning a lot faster. Tell people they can build houses. It doesn't make sense how they take so long and make it so hard. Like, build more houses. Just because people own properties and they want the value of them to keep going up endlessly, that doesn't mean that you can't build more houses. Something's got to give at some point. Support More Homes on the Market Act, decrease equity penalty, and incentivize more long-term owners to sell their homes. Once again, we'd have to look at what that really does. This shit never does exactly what they say it does. Bill aims to update tax laws regarding sale of a principal residence, which have remained unchanged since '97. Capital gains exclusion from $250,000 to $500,000 for single filers. I'm not actually against that, since houses, a fucking regular home is $500,000 anymore, so that doesn't seem like a horrible thing to do. New thresholds adjusted annually for future inflation. If the Fed's just gonna keep the money printer going burr, then they should do that. Reduces the stay put penalty. Home values have dramatically increased over the past 3 decades. Many long-term owners are choosing not to move, downsize, or relocate to avoid paying massive capital gain taxes on their accumulated equity. Yeah. I think we should incentivize people to move if they, if they've got another residence or whatever. Second homes, rental properties. You're not doing anything. You're not adding to society. We should not incentivize people to buy homes just to rent them out. I know that's going to piss off some guy who has 20 rental properties, and he said, I got it out of the mud. I put in this work. I deserve this wealth for my family. But you're not doing anything for society by renting out houses. Though that's just properties off the market that people could own for themselves and build wealth and equity for themselves. You know, if every person in the country said, I'm gonna go out there and buy properties and rent them, you think that would fucking work? No. Every time someone goes out and buys 20 houses, that's 20 houses that a family can't have, can't pay off the mortgage, can't build equity for themselves, save for their children in the future. That's just one person, you know, accumulating wealth off of other people's hard work. Increased housing inventory. By lowering the tax barrier, the bill is designed to encourage older, long-term homeowners to sell their properties, freeing up needed housing inventory for younger buyers. And I'm not really against that one. That one seems all right. Of course, I'm reading an overview of the bill. They could do the opposite of what they say. Housing for the 21st Century Act, landmark bipartisan housing reform bill designed to lower development costs, streamlining regulations, cuts red tape by exempting specific low-impact housing-related activities from burdensome National Environmental Policy Act environmental reviews. Not sure about that one. We're gonna exempt activities from environmental policy review. I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard about these big home building companies rushing through a neighborhood, selling houses for $700,000 a piece, and then half of them have to get torn down because they built it in a fucking flood zone that was a water retention area because no one did an environmental review. Zoning and code modernization. Authorizes Department of Housing and Urban Development to create model zoning frameworks and pattern books of pre-approved designs to help local municipalities drastically reduce permitting times. That sounds reasonable from a top down. It depends on how they execute that, but anything to make zoning and code go faster so that these guys can actually build houses sounds all right to me. I mean, I think they should make it, if anything, make it easier for small guys to get back into building houses. Anymore, you just see these large corporations, home builders, going in there and building houses. You don't see the mom and pop shops anymore. There used to be a lot of those guys that would build homes, and they're just not around anymore. There used to be a ton of them. Now you got D.R. Horton, Leonard, Pulte Group. I don't know. I never actually worked with them. I've just seen their signs. Ryan Homes, Heritage Homes, Taylor Morrison, Century, Toll Brothers. Something Residential Holdings. Those are the big ones that I've seen working. I remember for a couple of years I did a lot of infrastructure work for these like home building groups. Those were the ones that I remember. You'd have to go in there and do the like storm and sewer and channelize, make like I was talking about the retention ponds. There's a lot of work in developing a neighborhood to make sure that the water's flowing the right direction. Let's see here. Uplifting first-time home buyers, increase the amount that can be withdrawn penalty-free from IRAs. I'm not really against that, but I mean, if we fixed other parts of the economy, people wouldn't be going into retirement funds to buy a house. You shouldn't have to. It's kind of crazy to think that that's just a normal thing, is to tank your retirement fund to buy a home. Saving the American Dream Act. The American Dream's dead. At this point, they're stomping on it. Create a coordinated federal task force to advance a whole of government approach to solving the housing affordability crisis. Government committees have never helped anything in my experience, but sure. Let's build another one. Fair and Equal Housing Act. Add sexual orientation and gender identity to protected classes. I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, support self-employed professionals. So we're trying to protect this flexible business model of being a realtor. I don't know. To me, being a realtor just seems like I'm not sure how this is such a big industry. Somebody wants to sell a house this day and age, you can list it online a million fucking ways. I mean, if I ever get a house for sale, I'm gonna put it on Facebook Marketplace before I fucking involve a realtor. Housing Affordability Index. Let's see, what does this say? Measures degree to which a typical family can afford the monthly mortgage payments on a typical home. 100 means that a family with a median income has exactly enough income to qualify for a mortgage on a median priced home. An index above 100 signifies the family earning the median income has more than enough, assuming a 20% down payment. So above 100 means you have more than enough. 2025 June, it was at 95.5. December, January, 117, and now it's slowly but surely heading back down. I want to know how they get these numbers, because it just doesn't feel right. But then again, I think there might be some disparity with these national numbers, because you know, you have the median income skewed up by people that are in high cost of living areas, and they probably can't afford the home where they live. They could afford a home somewhere else where the job, you know, you're not getting jobs that pay that much. So I think that's one of the big problems right now is, you know, you live in a high cost of living area, city, you got a 6-figure job, and then you go look at the homes around you and they're $700,000. A starter home's $500,000. And I mean, sure, you could afford it, but in reality, how affordable is a $4,000 a month mortgage? The title report. Let's see. Foreclosure activity continued its gradual trend higher in April. Both foreclosure starts and completed, posting annual gains. Overall filings declined from the previous month. The year-over-year increases suggest lenders may be working through distressed inventory as higher borrowing costs and affordability challenged impact some homeowners. States with the highest number of foreclosure starts in April were Florida, Texas, California, Georgia, and Illinois. Among major metropolitan areas with a population of at least 500,000, a minimum of 100 foreclosure starts following saw the largest year-over-year increases in foreclosure starts in April. Pittsburgh, Austin, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Lakeland, Florida, and Akron, Ohio. I wonder how much Kill Tony's affected that. All these people moved to Austin, Texas to be stand-up comedians, and now they can't afford to live there, so the foreclosure starts are going to go through the roof soon. Median sales price of houses sold in the United States. Let's see. Is this fuck? It's hard to look at that, honestly. In the 70s, 24,000 was the median. Right now, 403,000. I mean, it peaked to Q3 2022. 438,000. It wasn't that long ago where the median sales price of a home was $20,000. That is a enormous difference. I mean, it's hard to believe. Personal consumption expenditures, services, housing, rental of tenant occupied non-farm housing. What exactly is this tracking? It's just like rental prices. How much people on average are spending on rent over a year. Once again, in the 70s, we're looking at 13, 14,000. Now we're 140,000. I mean, chain type price index. No, is this in units? I'm gonna have to look into what that actually means. Housing inventory estimate. Renter occupied housing units in the United States. I mean, 2002, we're looking at 35,000. Now we're looking at 46,000. Housing units occupied if a person or group of persons living in it at the time of interview, or if the occupants are only temporarily absent. Thousands of units, so we gotta multiply this by a lot. But I mean, it makes sense. People aren't buying houses like they used to. People are having to rent. Housing inventory estimates. Vacant housing units. Looks like we peaked around 2008. That makes sense. Big bust around then. Sharp decline 2020. Came back up pretty quick. Sort of a rocky road, slightly on the incline, but looking at the previous couple of years, it's not outside of the average. The units are thousands of units, so 15, 305, you're gonna have to multiply that out. Housing units vacant if no one is living in it at the time of the interview, unless its occupants are only temporarily absent. Unemployment rates. I mean, you can see there's some places that stand out. Farmington, New Mexico. Las Cruces. I've been there. That makes sense. A lot of areas in Florida, which that is major retirement zone, so maybe these people aren't really unemployed, or do they not count retired people? Denver, Aurora, Lakewood 3.8, Pueblo 5.5, Colorado Springs 4. That makes sense, actually. I don't know, the stock market seems like it's going up and up. Unemployment also seems like it's going up and up. We have colleges doing graduation speeches where they talk about people embracing AI. I don't think there's anything wrong with AI necessarily if you use it appropriately. Trying to use it to replace everyone's fucking jobs is probably not the best use for it. I mean, we're looking at the more efficiency than ever per person in the workforce, but salaries and wages have not gone up with that efficiency. Median home prices are going up and up. We have foreclosures going up slightly. Nothing alarming on paper yet, but I mean, it's alarming for that individual who's losing their home. And then we have the president saying he's not worried about people struggling financially or having high gas prices as long as he can win his fight in Iran. A fight that doesn't look to me like we're gonna win. Nah, I mean, I could be wrong about that. Maybe we will win. What does it mean to win? Is another great question.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are American financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all. I think about one thing. You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.
What's going on?
You're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President.
Do they copyright strike the PBS video? That would be awesome. Porter asked Trump on Tuesday what extent America's financial straits are motivating him to make a deal. Not even a little bit. Trump said, the only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran is they can't have nuclear weapons. That's really reassuring. I'm pretty sure this video had it in there.
Hi, and thank you for joining us. President Trump met with his top advisors in the Situation Room today to discuss a path forward on Iran. U.S. and Iranian negotiators have been working on a potential agreement to extend the current ceasefire and give themselves some time to work out some of the more complicated issues, namely the Strait of Hormuz.
I mean, haven't we been
and
through
Iran's
this
stockpile
before?
of enriched
No.
uranium. Throughout these
Found
negotiations,
weapons of
President
mass
Trump has said his main
destruction in
focus is
Iraq.
to deny Iran access to a nuclear weapon, even if it
Oh.
means gas prices will rise
I
or Republicans
almost
will have a tougher
forgot.
time in
The
November's
fucking
midterms.
UFC arena on the back
Having
door
a
of the White
conflict
House.
just in front of the midterm elections at a time like this isn't ideal.
So if you wanted to play that game, then you would wait till the midterms are over, and then the following hour,
When's
you'll
that gonna
attack
happen?
Iran
June
because they cannot have a
14th,
nuclear
South
weapon. Most
lawn of the
people
White
do agree on
House.
that. But then it gets maybe carried into, you know, the next election, whether it's a midterm or not.
That's crazy to me. They built this fucking crazy structure on the lawn of the White House for UFC? The card has been panned by fans as underwhelming. 2 championship fights. Alex Pereira meet Francis Cyril Gain. Spanish Georgian lightweight. I don't know any of these fighters. Been a long time since I've watched UFC. It's hard to take the bread and circus seriously anymore. I mean, that's all it is. You wake up and realize they put so much money into this shit because it distracts you from what's important. The fact that you can't fucking afford food, you can't put gas in your car to get to work, you're gonna fight other people for a job. Amazon might just bring in 30,000 H-1B visas and then lay off just as many people the next year. That way they can lock those H-1Bs into lower wages and basically use them as slave labor. I mean, what are they gonna do? Them being in the country is now predicated on Amazon wanting to keep them around. And the other people that were working for them, they laid off. No, by the way, this is Tucker, the fucker. Esquire the Third. Fucker was an earned name. He is a fucker. He's a sweet little boy, and I love him, but he will fucking randomly decide to catch an attitude and fuck me up. I do love him, though. Let's see, what else can we quickly recap? Keep this under an hour, and then maybe play some video games. It's good to relax every now and then. I was looking at HUD houses earlier, mostly just part of the research, but also looking at foreclosures that they had, seeing if there was anything decent looking. Hell, I want to buy a house sometime in the future. Sometimes it feels like that'll never happen, but it would be nice to build a little equity for myself. And it looked like the rates of the foreclosures on them was going up. So people getting the first time home buyers assistance are losing their homes, and that's not good. You know, the Federal Housing Administration has definitely had some issues in the past, but I mean, helping first-time home buyers has always been a good thing. Expand home ownership, stabilize the housing market, make mortgages more accessible. That seems like a good time to me. You know, to me, it seems like it doesn't matter which party is in office. It's just slow roll uphill for the average working class person. You know, with the ever since Citizens United. I mean, before that, there's definitely some sort of outside influence pushing things in a bad direction for the average citizen. But you know, I don't really know. I'm not an expert. I'm just thinking about the state of things. I mean, I think the best thing you could do is start saving money, you know, have an emergency fund, put money into stable stocks or bonds, try to save up, make yourself able to get into the market if the chance comes. You know, luck is the intersection of chance and being prepared to take the chance. I mean, if you see an amazing property and it's got a great price and it has potential and you don't have any money saved, you can't really do anything. I mean, that does kind of go into the other side of it. I mean, I've heard some economic advisors saying for certain young people, they're not even advising them on how to exactly save for the future. They're just trying to teach them how to successfully live, you know. What did that guy say, like spending jujitsu or something? It wasn't even about saving, it was about being smart with your spending, because he didn't think people would have very much money left over to save, and even if they did, inflation would outpace that money to where keeping it in savings would mean it would turn into nothing anyway, so you might as well spend it, which, you know, that's alarming on its own. Let's see what these guys are saying. Oh,
Stop
fucking
and
hell.
savor the strawberries.
As if you guys don't see enough of those.
By your 2024 vote. Look at this. Harris voters have stayed pretty constant. They don't like Donald Trump very much at all. It went from minus 92 to minus 94. But look at Trump voters. This is where the decline is coming from. Trump voters have turned on Trump when it comes to inflation. Pre-war, he was at plus 37 points on the net approval rating on inflation. Look at this now. Trump voters, he has a negative net approval rating on inflation among Trump voters. We're talking over 40-point decline in just a few months. That is the power of the Iran war on the Americans' wallet and Republicans' wallet. Trump voters'
so many
40-point swing. Trump voters, 3 months.
These politicians, no matter what
correct.
they do.
Okay.
They act like it's their fucking football team. Oh, my guy's in office, they'll fix it. They don't even look at where their guy who's donating to them, where they're getting money. They don't seriously take a look at who they associate with to see who might be benefiting from them being in office. They take people at face value and they lie to them over and over again. They never do what they promise they're going to do. We have to stop playing politics like it's fucking football. And my team, when the Democrats get into office, they're going to fix this. Well, when the Republicans get into office, we'll fix that issue. When has that ever fucking worked? Isn't it? Been a long time. I mean, maybe JFK, and you know what? They fucking shot him in the head. I mean, I think that this is gonna, I don't know where we go. I mean, 250-year anniversary of the nation. What is that thing? Most empires collapse around that timeline. What if we're gonna see the balkanization of the US in my lifetime? That's not gonna be very fun. For anyone, any of the youth, balkanization is the process by which a larger state or region breaks down into smaller, mutually hostile and independent entities. So yeah, things don't improve. There is a chance of that happening. I mean, 4 or 5 states turn into their own country. The US splits up into these regional entities, and next thing you know, you're fucking constantly having a little tiff with a guy you used to go see fucking every couple of months because he lives a state over. God forbid people like me, I moved for work across the country. If my parents on the East Coast, next thing I know, I gotta have a passport to drive and see them. But I mean, I don't know how we get out of this hole. We've let our politicians do whatever they want for the longest time, and because the country saw abundance and growth, you know, for a long period, people were happy with it. They didn't think to question it. I mean, you saw a lot of people able to start successful businesses. You saw guys working at Sears and JCPenney buy homes and provide for their families and send kids to fucking college off of one income. And now, I mean, you got people afraid to have kids because they don't know how they're going to provide for them. It's not been like that in a long time. I mean, you know how bad it has to be to make a mammal not want to have kids? That's one of their most base instincts. People are turning back to religion. I mean, I don't even think that's a bad thing, but that's another indicator of our, you know, major recession indicator. You know, I used to joke when I was younger, maybe housing prices going up isn't good. Maybe we need everything to tank. Maybe we need the bottom to drop out, and there, you know, everything could kind of level out. But I think the problem is now, even if the bottom did drop out, the people at the top have insulated themselves so much, they're just going to use that as a chance to gobble up more of the assets. I mean, we need a serious change. And I'm not talking Democrat or Republican. I mean, they're basically one and the same at this point. Like, we need a serious effort from the citizens of this country, the working class people, to come together and push back against our politicians, our representatives that don't care about what we really want and need in this country. They have kept us divided with petty politics, identity politics, silly religious differences, when really you know, the main things people want is to be able to have a house, be able to have a steady job, put food on the table, and see their kids safe and successful. We should be able to unite behind those things, and instead they use them to keep us divided. You know, the people that have been successful in the past, the older people that were able to buy homes when they were a reasonable price, they've somehow gotten into a lot of their heads that they've got theirs, and anyone complaining about it and saying it's hard for me, they're just fucking lazy and they need to skip the coffee and the avocado toast and they'll be able to have what you have. But it's just not like that anymore. I mean, it's a different fucking economy. The sooner we could get everyone to come together and agree on the state of the economy, I mean, we could maybe see a shift. I don't know. Well, maybe next time we have a political talk, we'll try to get into the why. But I had to just think about the current state of affairs, where we're at on the graph, the Fred, what they're saying we're looking at, and do a little bit of thinking about where we're at and where I personally want to go, because I've been very happy with where I'm at in my career for a long time. I mean, by all means, I'm supposed to be successful. I mean, I've done some great projects, worked with some great people. My portfolio, I mean, on paper looks great, but as a guy in my late 30s, even with a good career and a good salary, benefits, it just doesn't feel like where I want to be, economically. Things feel a lot harder than they should. I mean, a lot of that probably on me, spending habits, saving, but I mean, if you just look at even the most optimistic of the reports and the charts, we just don't have the purchasing power that we used to. I mean, the dream of the 90s that I grew up in, I mean, that's long gone. I just put a computer together. I mean, relative to what I bought, I mean, I have a great computer, but if I would have tried to buy this level of processing power compared to what's available on the market in the 90s, it wouldn't have been bad. I mean, just recently with this data center hike, I mean, we saw the price of RAM. I was looking at sticks for $700 for 64 gigs. I mean, that is a big, nice stick of RAM. I mean, it's a high end. It's not going to be cheap. But that's got to be 3 times more than what it's really worth to a consumer. It's just crazy that we've let things get to that point. Why do we need all these data centers? They're just going to surveillance. I mean, anybody who's done any amount of research on it knows that much. I mean, they're just putting together these surveillance centers essentially to store all this data for the cameras they're installing everywhere. That way they can monitor everything we do, use their algorithms to say, hey, he goes here and here. If he goes over there today instead of where he normally goes, he's probably going to do this. And that way they can predict everything we're doing and keep track of us, and probably going to use it to stop us from, fighting back against the technocratic oligarchy that they're trying to establish. But we were happy with the cheap goods, sending all the manufacturing overseas so that they could benefit from it. No one cared about giving up all their rights and privacy because of 9/11, which, hell, we allowed to happen so that we could pay back some debt the Bush family had from back in the day. And we continue to allow politicians and these wealthy families to become politicians and direct our country, different places so that they can play high level games that negatively affect our lives because, they did a deal with some guy 50 years ago and now it's time to cash it in. I don't know. I mean, can we not elect somebody to president that's going to get in there and just fucking eviscerate all these lifetime politicians and billionaires who've been using our government as a ATM. I mean, we just need one good guy to get in there and actually fucking check the books. Well, I don't know. I digress. You guys have a good one. I'll be back in a little bit, play some video games. We'll see ya.